Happy New Year. Whose year? Happy birthday. Wishing you an amazing year. The question, when you were born, seems to be easy, but it is not strange that after spending 9 moons inside your mother's womb, somehow when you are born, you are made to count your years using a 12-moon calendar. Why? How old are you then? When were you born? Why then you go to count on using a 12-month cycle? There you are. Consider that you spend 9 moons. The first month is like that. You go 2 months, 3, 4, you are developing, and you spend a 9-year gestation period up to the 9th month when you are born. Consider this misinformation about birthdays from this perspective: when you were born, the day of your birth, or 9 moons. Time reckoning began with our ancestors and was recorded on stone in ancient Africa. Happy New Year 2019. When they stop the earth on 31 December midnight, welcoming a new year, whose year? Yours? Or, if you are an African, is this what our ancestors discovered? If not, what is the practice or the practices that fosters our African identity? This one of 1 January? Or there is something else? Answering to the eternal call, know thyself. How would our identity synchronize with this kind of a dating system? Most black people look forward to New Year's festivities, which begin on December 31, New Year's Eve, the last day of the Gregorian calendar, and continue into the early hours of January 1, New Year's Day. Common traditions include attending parties, eating special New Year's food. And did you know, in order to realign the Roman calendar with the sun, Julius Caesar had to add extra 90 days to the year 46 before Common Era when he introduced his new Julian calendar. Therefore, his time was not divine. It was man-made, and it was changed and has been changed by humans. Therefore, your identity is a total disconnect if it is not totemic or ancestral. When Christians declare that from January 1 they fast for 10 or more days, do they know they are basing their time on the Romans? Of course, maybe they are Roman Catholics, but that the whole spirit of January is based on the Roman god Janus, who is shown here, the Roman god of beginnings, deadly and connected to an idol, a Roman idol. First, consider this other angle. We count years in solar adjusted moons or months, but if you think about it, it becomes obviously wrong. Why and how? Days vary and differ if you use the solar. Look at this diagram that we are showing here. The tropical year has about 365.24 days to complete an orbit. As if you are heliocentric, Hamid Hebrew ethics is geocentric anyway, but we are using what the common people think. The common year is 365 days, then they add a quarter every year for tropical year and a leap year so that they can synchronize it. So these 3 cannot be a year totally. And then you've got 366, which is a leap year, which is a different year from the other years. How do you synchronize this with your date of birth? Days then vary and differ. When you say 1 year equals 12 months, whose year are you talking about? Which year are you looking at? So what about a month? A month is a unit of time used with the calendars, which is approximately as long as a natural period related to the motion of the moon. Month and the moon are cognates, so they just use month, but it should actually be moon. The traditional concept arose with the cycle of moon phases. Such months are synodic months and last approximately 29.53 days, completely different from the 31 days that we have today. This you can read from Wikipedia. If so, our actual age must be naturally counted. In other words, we must base our counting of our age on the 9 moon cycles that we spent in our mother's womb, not 12. This is very, very, very important. The revelation that comes from this is awesome. If you don't understand it, don't worry. But if you understand it, you realize that this is awesome. Therefore, a 50-year-old person actually 67 moon years in real time, in natural time. This 50 year that you count by subtracting and doing all that is not your natural age. It's a fallacy, it's false, it's based on man-made cycles, not the natural cycle that we've just explained here. The current year is a Roman year cycle. It's based on Roman year cycles for most countries anyway. Most people do not know that the modern calendar commissioned by Emperor Julius Caesar in 46 BCE can be traced back to that which was used by ancient Africans in Egypt, which they developed through stellar observations around 4241 before Common Era. But for him to come up with a workable calendar, he was assisted by a mulatto astronomer known as Sirius, who assisted him to come up with his calendar. So the origins of the names of the months, Centaurus, that this is like March, is from Mars. April is either from Aphrodite or Aperio, to open. May is either from Mysores, in honor of Maya, whose sacrifice was that of the month, a human sacrifice. June is either from Uniorus or from Juno, who was honored that month. December is 10th, but it's the 12th month. But Dece means 10. Quintilis is renamed July after Julius Caesar, 44 before Common Era. So when you say you were born in July, you are actually born in the month of Caesar. Sextilis renamed August after Augustus Caesar, 8 BCE. January, Janus, we have shown it. February, from the ritual occurring in that month, which the Romans purified themselves with hot salt, Febrium. You can get this on this website shown here. So every month there is a pagan. Other New Year's, we got the Chinese one, which is 2019 is the Happy New Year for Chinese, is the year of the pig. And you got, this is the Maya one, the Maya calendar, you know, the 2012 popular calendar. And also you got the Jewish calendar, which uses the Roman days with the 7-day week. Therefore, it is locked to the Romans week in the Jewish calendar, with its monocycles based on the computations of Rome. It's all confusion. And you also know that 10 days were removed to synchronize it in 1582 after death, so that we have our date and as they are today. So everything you think of dates and time and New Year and your date of birth, they are all up in the air. But they are not just confusion. It's a thought out plan which will show how it was. Note that the Roman calendar in its use openly promotes the weekday and the month names exclusive to Rome. Such usage locks in their way by the Julian calendar, revised by Pope Gregory and is now known as Gregorian calendar. It was adopted in a treaty with Rome in 1752 by the British Empire. You can read more on this website. And this is the Gregorian calendar adoption dates of various countries. Turkey 1927, China 1912, Japan 1873, Russia 1918. So it is ruling all over, everywhere. That's where they use it. If Africa, it's just, you have to look for the colonizer and you see where they adopted it. As part of his reform, Julius Caesar instituted January 1 as the first day of the year to honor Janus, the Roman god of beginnings. If you celebrate this day, you are a Roman citizen, no matter what your arguments, no matter your intelligence, your smartness, your spirituality. Even if you cast devils, even if you fly to heaven and back, you are a Roman citizen. Your spirit has been subsumed into a Roman spirit. What about your birthday count? The state captures you by way of giving you a birth certificate. The government uses them to create your strawman and legal status as a persona, and therefore you have liabilities, government, and then traded on the sea of international commerce, using you as security. An idea taken from the redemption movement. You can do a lot of research. You can go on YouTube and look and listen to Jordan Maxwell, who deals with that. It's based on maritime law anyway. The Holy See Admiralty law that rules the world, also referred to as maritime law, the law of the sea, commerce, a fiat, currents means water, the flow, money flow, the flow of currents. There are many laws of the land, but only one law of the sea. The law of the sea, Admiralty law, has taken over the world through fiat, money, currents. Admiralty ship on Department of Commerce seal logo, Admiralty gold fringed flags on the United States courts, schools, churches, etc. Your name in capital letters, and all that is all Admiralty law. So the world is being run by this law of Admiralty. And clear that it has to have its own certificate of manifest. Why? Because it came in on a ship, the waters of your mother. She delivered the product on the water. You were formed in the waters of your mother, in the womb of your mother. She delivered the product on the water, on the high seas. So she is now sitting in her birth. So this is why when you were born, your mother's water broke and you came out as a maritime admiralty product because you came out of water. Therefore, you have to have a birth certificate, a certificate of manifest from the ship who sits in the harbor or labor in her birth. You can read a lot from this truthseekermedia.com. It's quite amazing, the conspiracy that we live under. Where it all began and the correct year, ancient Africans. Time reckoning began with our ancestors and recorded in ancient Africa. The ancient Africans had several calendrical systems in place to mark the passing of time. So we had the lunar, the civil calendar based on kings or queens' ascension on the throne, with the solar calendar. Our ancestors devised a civil calendar based on the solar cycle called Renpet, which had 12 moons, but each month called Avada contained a standard of 30 days, Horesu, based on the count of the moon. Therefore, there were 360 days in a year. 5 extra days were feast days added to allow lunar and solar calendar to align. So it was done annually. A new year started with the heliacal rising of the Sirius star that we see, or weather. African conception of time derived from the fusion of two complementary ideas, Jede or Jet, a linear counting of time which started whenever a new king ascended to the throne, one after the other in an irreversible way. It was linked to earthly items and events, to the ideas of lasting duration and Naho-ho, which is the cyclic time grounded on the periodicity of cosmic phenomena, particularly the movement of the moon, the sun, and other stars, which were reborn every day. Kalanga. It was linked to the ideas of rebirth, mwezi, transformation, becoming. The conception of history itself in ancient Africa was a celebration of the eternal return to the first time, which is the time when the first ancestors emerged on the earth. This is the whole calendar of the origins of everything. Don't listen to those who say Sumeria, those who say India, those who say Maya. They are all wrong. From the translation of John Foster in Journal of Near Eastern Studies, the Egyptians or Africans were probably the first to adopt a mainly solar calendar. They noted that the dog star Sirius or Weber reappeared in the eastern sky just before the sunrise after several moons of invisibility. They also observed that the annual flooding of the Nile River, which is Haapki, came soon after. So Africans based their calendar on the heliacal rising of Weber, namely the day when it becomes visible. It was also attached and linked to the annual flooding of the Nile and the summer solstice in Africa. In Africa, Dendera, there is a map and there's a zodiac, which is clear, straightforward, proving that the Dendera calendar is the old and the original. And there is the mathematical table for calculating now and synchronizing other calendars, because this is the origin anyway. But for use the ancient Egyptian calendar, it is necessary to correlate it to some points with other calendars. In ancient Africa, the rising of the star in the horizon was dated on 4241. So that is the basis and the explanation which is based on this table. And it is clear that the stability of this is eternal. Stability and continuity is symbolized by Thoth sitting on a pillar Jedu, whose 4 steps evoke the zodiacal tetrarchy. The Egyptian calendar was designed as a true work of eternity. So when is our new year as Africans? There it is. Real African New Year celebrations, 2018-2019, it's already well past. It was on the 11th of September. The next celebration for a new year is next year, 12th September 2019-2020. That's when we celebrate it. But from there after, it's the 11th of September of every year, and then the 4th year is 12th of September. If you are an African, these are critical dates for what is our new year. In conclusion, therefore, if you know yourself, you realize that you are divine, you are awake, then you know your true identity. Therefore, Happy New Year, happy birthday. You know whose year and when. Easily will be the same year that connects and links you to your ancestors who received it by revelation from the Creator. It will not be locked to any other calendar crafted by colonizers, by men, by wise, crafty religious deceivers. You have an immense challenge if you understand this. You will never honor Janus by respecting New Year on January 1. But on 12 September 2019, you start counting your years again and correct and correlate your actual age using the lunar that we have shown. This is Priest Rabbi LM Tumizulu. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. This is our contact address, lmtumizulu@gmail.com. It's also our website. Visit it and leave your comments there. Thank you. Tatenta Siabonga. Till we meet again. Have a new year. Next year, 12 September 2019, we start another year. Goodbye.